Alrighty, what up you guys? Today we got some interesting stuff. So we just got the Jubilee, the latest Jubilee video that I was a part of. And wow, the comments in this video are insane. Where do I begin? So Jubilee really messed this video up, and I really want to kind of go into details of this whole video and everything because they really misrepresented us. There is so many things that Jubilee removed from this conversation. They took out anything that would potentially help us, or any issues that were brought up that actually needed to be brought up. They removed a lot of those things, right? And so even right now as we speak, me and the whole panel, I put us in a group chat. We're actually planning a collective response on my YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna post it on their socials as well. But right now we're on a group chat and we're all disappointed because, again, a lot of the stuff they took out, I think they should have released it raw, and hopefully after we shoot our collective response, maybe they do that. I think I'm going to highlight that in the video. But yeah, I want to go over some of the topics they removed and sort of my thoughts on it as a whole, and then at the end we're going to go into the comments. That's what I always like to do on my channel. But yeah, the comments on this particular video are crazy. I'm getting eat up the most, which I expected. You know, I'm more of I was definitely the most challenging person on that panel. They removed a lot of the things that I said because I like to bring up a lot of real things. I can't sugarcoat things. I've never been that kind of guy. That's not my style. So yeah, one of the first things I want to tackle within this video, okay? And there is a decent amount, but they removed a whole section, if I remember correctly, because I recently watched the video, but there was nothing on colorism. We spoke on colorism. I forget how it got brought up. I think it was an actual question. It was on the prompt, and we all put in our 2 cents. And I'm not gonna, we all put in our 2 cents. I brought up a few things. I said that I think that me and the other black men, we recognized, of course, that colorism kind of affects more of the women than the men. And just speaking for myself personally, I don't think that colorism affects me. I don't think I'm losing opportunities. I don't even think I'm being misrepresented. I don't think I'm being misrepresented as a dark-skinned black man out there. Like, I would be disingenuous to myself. I don't think like I'm missing opportunities or my image is crazy in terms of the black man. But the other women felt it different ways, and this was a whole conversation. I brought up colorism. I brought up the fact that I even brought up a bit about Chris Brown. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think it was a few years back, he went viral for no dark-skinned women allowed in his club section, and that was a big deal. And I brought up, and I'm like, black women, that's his whole fan base, and he's got stuff like that, and black women still love him. Like, that's not even in the episode. I brought up stuff like that, and so they completely removed that. We spoke about what else did we speak about? Because it was really interesting. I brought up the babies out of wedlock. I think it's like 70% of black people have babies out of wedlock, and I spoke heavily against promiscuous behavior and stuff like that because those are real issues. And one of the women, she said that we should focus more on the positive things. I agree and disagree. I think we should focus on both the positive and negative things, right? That way we can deal with the actual issues within the community. That's how I see it at the very least. If we want to better our community, we have to look at the numbers, right? We have to look at what's within our culture, call it out, which means accountability. On that note of accountability, I'll say this, the woman that really got my respect, I respect all of them, but the one that really stood out the most to me was Simone. It's the woman with the fro. I hope I said her name right. Super cool. I respected her honesty in that there's a segment within the episode where I believe her name is Jada. I was talking about how materialistic people are today. Well, women are today. Really, it's people as a whole. I can't just say women. Both men and women are very materialistic today. But as a man that dates women, this is something that I've noticed, and I know for a fact other men have noticed this too. So we were talking about this. Jada has mentioned that, hypothetically speaking, because I believe Jada is married, I don't want to misrepresent her. She was saying if she was seeing a man who was maybe in school, something to the effect of him being a technician and he has something going for him, that she could be with him. And maybe she could. Maybe, I'm sure that woman is real. But I said, I just don't believe that. This has been my experience today when I'm going out on dates with women, seeing women. I was like, I just don't believe that. They just want the man with the money. Now, I can tell in the comments a lot of women weren't feeling this, but it's just the truth. And Simone said, no, he's right. She said that she doesn't date for potential. She dates essentially for the top guy. And I respect the honesty, because very rarely do you hear women just flat out say that. They usually don't. They usually will say things like what Jada said. And that's fine. But in real life, no, I think a lot of men know that. No, it's more so what Simone said. And we know that. So I respect the honesty. She was very honest about a lot of things. And I'm not saying Jada wasn't or the other women weren't. But in real life, like when men are dating, I'm pretty sure, at least has been my experience, that oftentimes that they don't care about your potential. And that's perfectly fine. I just want that to be at the forefront, because that is the reality of the situation. So I thought that was really cool. She really got my respect for that. She even brought up accountability towards the end. There was a bit on Kevin Samuels that's not even on there. There was a small bit on Kevin Samuels. One of the gentlemen, I believe his name is Fernando, cool dude, all cool people. By the end, he was like, I think he said something about Kevin, and I was like, yeah, I wanted to talk about him too. And then he said that Kevin Samuels really helped him out a lot when it came to, like, you know, how his relationships with women and stuff like that. And then Simone said, no, she said, I agree with a lot of the stuff that he says, as far as like the accountability. That's what she said. She said, we all need to start having more accountability. And I was like, I agree 100%. Both black men and black women need to be held accountable, right? You're your own person, right? If you do something wrong, you should be able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, I need to fix that. Being accountable is just a mature grown thing. And I would say as a whole, I didn't say this in the episode, I agree with the whole 100% we need to be accountable. But I was like, there is a lot of black people that don't hold themselves accountable, especially with women, if I'm just being completely honest. So I was pleased to hear stuff like that. And so these little like conversations that I'm talking about right now, none of this was in that episode. It's like they consciously deleted anything that would be good or that would be an actual conversation, like in a black household. Like if you are with your family, right, and you're black and you guys are talking about issues within your community, they removed all of that stuff. Because we went in on some pretty good, especially me, like I brought up Sexy Red in our culture and all this stuff. Like we need to, you know, none of that is in there though. So we're all disappointed, if I'm being like, we're all in a group chat now talking about how they misrepresented us, and there's just a lot of things that aren't in there. I'll say that much. What else? These comments look crazy. I do want to get into a lot of these comments and kind of just show you guys what's going on. If you haven't seen the episode, you can watch it. I'm getting the most hate in the comments. My name is Bryson. But I have noticed I'm getting most of the hate from women, which I expected to. And then a lot of the men are just saying I was just being real and speaking the truth, which is very few. What else is there something I want to say? I did get into some threads. I had come across somebody talking about our video on Threads. And I basically, in short, shared this information to them. I said they misrepresented us and they took out a lot of stuff. I told them that, you know, me and the panel, we're gonna do a group response. And people were saying, yeah, you definitely should. We knew something was off. And so, yeah, that's been pretty exciting. But the whole video is I mean, oh my gosh, these comments are crazy. I seen a comment, maybe I could find it right here. Oh, I also want to note, before we get into the comments, that they changed the thumbnail and title. I think they changed the title more than once, but originally the title was Black Men versus Black Women, which is already problematic in and of itself, right? But that was the title. And I'll post for you right now because I posted on my Instagram story. Who is that guy? Now they finally uploaded it, you guys. And I think this comment section is going to be interesting. I kind of had a feeling they were going to put me in the thumbnail. I was kind of raw, but I just had to keep it a buck. So they had it like that. Then they changed it to what it is now, and it's titled, I Only Date White Men. Now, nowhere in this conversation did anyone say that, but they needed to put something in because they saw how much heat they were getting when it initially dropped, right? We're already in a pent up, like, men versus women attitude, so it's already aggressive. But again, mind you, we are all on good terms, me and the panel. Like we were actually cool by the end. Everyone in the beginning, which they cut out a decent amount, it was like it was pretty rough because again, I was going pretty hard, but as it unfolded, we all got on good terms and we're all good. And so now I'm excited for that group response. But yeah, I would say the person that should, or the, I don't know, the collective that should get most of the blame should be Jubilee itself, to be honest. It should be Jubilee itself. But all right, let's get into some comments. I want to find that, oh, this comment right here. How Jubilee always manages to find these I never felt black enough people to represent people is crazy. This has 2.2 thousand likes. This comment is very interesting because when I look through these comments, it's actually very telling about us as a whole, right? I really don't know what it comes from. They took out a lot of things where, like, for example, I brought up my hand a lot. This shaped a lot of my character. It has shaped me in a way to where I don't play victim and I don't like playing victim, right? And so when I say, like, at one point I said, and I'm pretty sure a lot of black people didn't like this, at least from what I'm seeing in the comments. At one point I was saying, when it comes to my people, black people, that's something I can't resonate with, is the whole victim mentality. And my frame of mind stems from this hand. I learned early on, especially during dating, right, that like, if a woman wasn't interested in me in my coming of age years or even today because of my hand, she has a right to not be interested in me. I'm not insecure in that. I understand that it's not everyone's cup of tea, right? And I was trying to kind of bring that up. None of that is in there. I was trying to I wanted black women to see that, because I know a lot of times with black women, for example, they get angry if, like, for example, if a black man doesn't like another black woman's 4C hair, that's like a hot topic within the community. And I was trying to get them to see that if a black man doesn't like your hair, that man would not be the man for you, right? A lot of times you'll see black women, not every black woman, not every black woman, a decent amount of black women will say, you need to be into me, basically, because your sister and your mom has the same hair. And, you know, it'll just go on and on and on and on. And from my perspective, right, as someone who has something that a lot of people may or may not like, I don't think you telling them that helps your case. Like, when you say that to someone, it doesn't make them, all of a sudden, now I'm attracted to you. You just go where you're appreciated. And, like, for example, with my hand, if a woman wasn't interested in me, oh, cool, I just go on and move on to the next one. It doesn't have to be this really huge, big argument, this back and forth thing. You just go where you're appreciated. Now, my thinking is, you know, maybe I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but these were kind of hot topics, is that I think with women, most women aren't used to rejection. Men are, because men obviously approach women throughout their life. So you're gonna get rejected a lot of the times. So I think men are more comfortable with rejection, whereas with women, if you reject them for whatever reason, you will be met with a lot. Right? If a man rejects a woman for whatever, it could be maybe he doesn't like her toes, her dress, whatever. It's gonna get some bite back. But when the women reject men, it's actually funny, and he needs to do this and needs to do that. There's a double standard, of course, but that's just life. Like, I'm not gonna, like, that's just the truth. I will say in this video, I did bring up a lot of truths. Moving forward, let's see what else we got here. Dude with the dreads needs to be on a therapist couch, not a Jubilee chair. This has 1.7K likes. Let's go into this. Yes, and I don't think it has to do with his hand gone, but he needs help. So, seriously, he spoke fast. See, I want you to notice too that, and somebody, I want to see if I can find this comment, because somebody commented, they said, I noticed that Bryson, the guy with the locks, is getting a lot of hate from women, but from the men, they're agreeing with him. And then they said, this is very telling. I want to see if I can find that comment, but that was something I recognized early on too. I was like, I don't know why dude with the dreads spoke facts, but let's find something else. Somebody says, it sounds a lot like the men want a more traditional women, yet the roles are reversed. It's certainly an issue that a woman would have more traditional expectations from men. This is actually true. I don't know if you got, maybe I can bring it up, but recently they came out with there's mostly, and I'm in California, but most of the women today, I think it's between like 18 and 30 or something. I'll have to bring it up. But they're more left-leaning or liberal, and the men are more traditional. So this statement is true in that, yeah, men do want more traditional roles. At least I'm speaking for myself and like the numbers that I've seen. I know I'm more of a traditional man, but that just doesn't seem to be the case today when it comes to meeting women today. Somebody says the sister with the braids should actually be hosting / moderating this conversation. Yeah, she was well spoken. I think the women were very well spoken. I think we were all pretty well spoken for the most part. Now, of course, not everybody agreed with us, and a lot of things were cut out, but I think we were all solid and pretty well spoken. Actually, this is an interesting conversation. So this person says the fact that the men only brought up stereotypes whilst the women were discussing issues as they stand speaks volume. Now, I don't know what like stereotypes like what. Again, my frame of mind is if there's an issue within our community, I want to bring that up, right? The conversation of, oh yeah, even now as I'm talking about it, I don't remember this in the video, but correct me if I'm wrong. There was a segment where we were talking about weight within the Black community, and Fernando, and I'll show him right here, he brought up, yeah, bonnets and stuff like that, like talking about how it's not appealing or it's not attractive when a lot of Black women go out and essentially conduct themselves in this manner. That was what he was saying. I was speaking on weight. Like that's something we do need to work on within the community, right? Weight is we cannot lie and say weight is not an issue. It definitely is an issue. And in the conversation of dating and attraction, we all know that's a thing. So again, and I think even Simone added about accountability to that too, and you know, stuff like that is important. So if you want to argue and say that's a stereotype, then so be it. But weight within the Black community is an issue, and that's something that we do need to deal with. Right? If you want to work on yourself and lose weight, I think that's great. I don't think talking about that should be a problem, right? That's like the only thing maybe, oh, the whole drug thing too, like that's also true. I've dated, I got so many homegirls, man. Even, and I'm not gonna mention their names, even in this episode, you know, one of the girls was telling me that, she said, I can't tell you how many women, other Black women have told her that they want a thug, they want a gangster, they want this. And I brought this up. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of Black women that actually do want that. And even the other men, like, you know, beside me, one of them was saying that has been the case within his experience where, you know, you're dealing with a Black woman, but they don't want you, especially if you're the nerd archetype of a Black guy. Now, this is not every woman. If you're watching this, I know that. Men know this. But this is a large majority of women. As a man who dates Black women, and even don't even take my word for it, this has been a conversation for a reason. That a lot of Black women do want the thug archetype of a man. Like, this is not a secret. If you want to say like this falls under the line of a stereotype, then so be it. I think another thing is like, if you're speaking something that's true, or if you're really poking at something that is sensitive, for the men, they immediately get labeled as insecure, or it's a stereotype, or they try to like diminish you. Like, I've seen comments, maybe I could find some now, where the women were telling me I was insecure and I was trying to hide my hand, which is so funny because I intentionally went to that episode wearing a vest to show off my hand. Because in my mind, I'm like, all right, I want to be, you know, I want to represent for people with disabilities. Like, you could be confident and still do your thing. But I seen women in the comments saying I was insecure and hiding my hand. Interesting, very, very interesting. Moving forward, Bryson is toxic. He's one of those brothers that think he's so woke and informed, but actually has no idea what he's talking about. I don't know what Black woman hurt him. He needs to heal. Okay, you know what? Let me go through the replies. Even now as I'm reading this, it's all women basically going against me, telling me I need therapy. Which is a normal response. I expect to hear stuff like that, but that's perfectly fine. You know, I think I'm perfectly fine. I just like to bring up a lot of real issues, and I like to talk about the reality of the situation, especially as someone who's out there dating. It seems to me that whenever the men bring up something, that it is immediately met with, no, you need help, you're insecure, you're this, like from the Black women, and that seems to be the case. Now, if we all went up there, the men went up there and we were kind of just, I don't even know if I can say that, because the thing is they deleted so much. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, me and the group were planning a response. This is just my personal response and my whole thing on it. my frame of mind. We're all gonna come together. I don't know when, we're planning it right now. Do a response, speak our minds, speak against Jubilee. They really misrepresented a lot. Again, we were all on the same page for the most part towards the end. We all exchanged numbers. We did find middle ground, and it was actually a really healthy conversation. Again, just Jubilee removed a lot of things. Yes, there was some discourse. That's what a conversation is. Man, you know, that's what you have to go through discourse. You have to talk about issues and find some sort of middle ground or end result. So that's just normal. And of course, not everybody's going to agree with everything I said or any of the other members said. But ultimately, we all respect each other. We're all super cool, and we're all sharing our thoughts and et cetera, et cetera. So tell me what you guys think of this video, or even what you think of the episode if you've seen it. I'd love to know your thoughts. Again, we got really, really bad comments. You know, it is what it is.